Let's start with Claire and her Guardian experience. Claire, I think you were quoted the other day as saying, social media is developing so fast that it's hard to predict who the movers and shakers will be this time next year, let alone next week. But you're clearly more than hanging on in there at The Guardian, so tell us how it's going.
Oh, well, right, okay, so let's start at the beginning. I mean, it's very hard for me to believe, maybe not so hard for you to believe, looking at me, that I was actually already in my job when the Guardian website was born. That was 1999. I remember Ian Katz, who's now a deputy editor, going off to America and coming back like a little puppy, coming back trailing this news of this great big internet beast that was going to take us over. And they set up an office on the 5th floor of the building, and we didn't take much notice of them. They all came up and they uploaded stuff overnight, and they were all students just out of university. Now, my young colleague, who was one of those people who came in about that time, who now runs the Guardian Books website, remembers the big party, which is one of the few people who actually remembers the party they had when they reached 1 million readers in a year, in the course of 1 year. Now, on Good Friday, we had 6 million unique readers in one day, on Good Friday. It was like 800,000 to 1 million bigger than any other reading day we've ever had. And why? You know, we have to ask ourselves, why has that happened? Where have they come from? Where are they? Who are they? Why have they come on Good Friday of all days, when you would expect a lot of the world to be busying themselves about other things, sort of prostrating themselves and things like that? So we are now faced with this question that we're reconciling incredibly different readerships, incredibly different reading zones. And I would also add that the Guardian Review, for which I was literary editor for since 2002, also didn't exist when I was started out as literary editor, and that is also going strong. So it's not that the website has just wiped out everything that's gone before, it's that somehow we're trying to bring into partnership things that come from very different impulses and serve what you would think were very different publics and a very different function, so my job as books editor is to try and bring them together and make a sense of them. And they all have their own editors. So we have an editor of the website, we have a literary editor of The Observer, we have an editor of Guardian Review. So what's my job? I sometimes ask myself that in those sweaty moments in the night. It's to see the book's coverage of Guardian news and media into the digital first age. Now, by digital first, we mean that every piece of content we have, we're committed to putting up on the website as soon as it arrives. So we don't wait for the papers anymore. The wisdom is that the crossover is about 10% between the website and the papers. And part of that is that the paper is a national UK thing and the website is international, which is one, from the point of view of a journalist who's interested in putting out information, is a really fascinating and wonderful thing, this opportunity it's given us to reach publics that didn't exist. So of the 6 million unique visitors on Good Friday, 60% of them came to us on mobiles. Now, 18 months ago, or 2 years ago, we didn't even have a mobile editor. So that's how quickly it's moving. And how do you read on mobiles? You know, it's a very different reading experience. So I'm somehow having to curate a reading experience which goes from the Guardian Review, which is very high-end, traditional, to a mobile phone, which is, you know, what can you put across on a mobile phone? It's not even a website. It's a small chunk of information. So I think that the big questions that I'm always asking is, who are they? Where are they? And increasingly, I think the question is not what they read, but how they read. And if you can answer how they read, then you can get to the what. And I think that's one of the big changes of the last couple of years. And I just want to end by talking about a few of the old saws that I think have actually been overturned, or at least challenged by these new realities. One of which is the old saying in journalism that today's news is tomorrow's fish and chip wrapping. Well, it's not anymore tomorrow's fish and chip wrapping. It goes on. It has a life. We have this really weird phenomenon since we've had our Facebook app that suddenly things go viral that were sort of 10 years old, and you find, how do you deal with the sudden reappearance of naked protesters defending our Ai Weiwei, since we're on a China theme here, or how do you deal with the fact that year after year, one of the most popular pieces of copy on the Guardian website is a 2002 100 most popular books of all time, as judged by the Norwegian book groups. the Association of Norwegian Book Groups. It comes up time and time again. Now, it comes up time and time again because it's one of the most successfully search engine optimized pieces we've ever run. But, I get a bit obsessed with it, and I was thinking, we have to do 100, or another 100 that's more current and that belongs to us. It doesn't belong to Norway. But then up it bobs, up again every year. These are things that we have to somehow make a virtue of. The second old sore, I would say it is challenging. Books journalism is boring. It's either preview or review. No, it's not. We do vodcasts, we do podcasts, we do blogs, we do interactives, which are quite new to me. They would say I'm sort of Fred Flintstone in terms of our website people, but interactives are a great new toy we've got, where you can get people involved in what you're doing. They can play with the site, and that has opened up lots of different possibilities. And all these mediums have different personalities. I love podcasts personally because I think you can be curious in podcast. I've always edited people's reviews, but I wouldn't say I'm a natural book reviewer. I'm not a critic by nature. I'm better at the curious, investigative side. My fiction editor, totally to her surprise, found she was a brilliant tweeter. And I would also, and this is another whole area, that the social networks have become an extension of journalism. It's not just about marketing. The distinctions between what you put out, how you put out, are absolutely breaking down. We have on Guardian Books 330,000 Twitter followers. And we are working them in all sorts of new ways. We have live web chats with them, we involve them, we bring their comments back into what we do on the website, we ask for their opinions and we follow what they recommend, the things that they're interested in. And I'd say this is an absolutely legitimate new form of journalism. The next thing I would say is it's all about, now this is very controversial and my bosses will kill me, it's all about the big juggernaut of numbers, it's all about those top 6 million. But as a books editor, what I think it's about is the niches that make up the 6 million. And I think that's really exciting as well. So, for example, traditional print journalism, because of limits of space and limits of personnel, could never deal with things like graphic novels, a lot of SF, niche SF, which has, and these are global phenomena where you have people who have massive knowledge all over the world. We can harness that knowledge now and feed it back into our platform, and it can become part of our journalistic platform. It's really exciting. We're getting access to new things. Finally, criticism is dead. And this is my particular big bugbear. I think there was 10 years ago, I remember Vicky Barnsley coming to a talk at The Guardian saying nobody's interested in critics anymore. And I think at that stage they probably weren't. It's all about shifting numbers. But actually, with the website, when in the internet, what we really need is people who can steer you through the mass of unregulated information there is. And so we are both functioning as guides, as curators, but also as a platform, a place where you can go and find all these people gathered together. And there is some sense of curation that can stop you from wasting all your time getting nowhere, and can also find the little guys through all these different outreach places we have, and bring them into a fold, which then gives them a readership. So I think that's really important. So just to summarise, I think that I do think it's very scary. I don't know whether I'll be in paid employment. I think it's it's probably scarier for newspapers than it is for publishing in many ways. But I don't think that journalism is dead. I think that the new possibilities are absolutely amazing. And what we have to do is we have to go out there with an open mind and we have to play. And I do a lot of lecturing to kids, and what I say to them is the most important thing is to play. Play with all the different opportunities, the different media, and you can just invent new ways of coverage which are entirely invigorating. Whether it belongs in a paid environment, I don't know. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Claire. Some very interesting things thrown up there.